right now.
For treatments.
Now I hear it.
Because when you take part in Walk to End Alzheimer's, you're not just walking, you're fighting to stop the disease. We're closer than ever, but to get there, we need you. Join us for the world's largest fundraiser to fight the disease. Register
Oh,
today
Brett's in
at
too, so he's just got to get his stuff turned on.
alz.org/walk.
This is a presentation of high school sports on Fort Wayne Sports Station. The Casters postgame show, powered by Pizza Hut, live from the mic at Coventry Village on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
And coming to you live from the Pizza Hut at Coventry, as well as the mic here at the 1380 The Fan mic studio. This is Adam Lundy coming to you live right here on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM, where you were just tuned in to our Midwest Box Breaks high school football game of the week. And, it ended up being a lopsided one. It was Homestead soundly defeating Snyder, shutting them out by a score of 38-0. We'll hear a lot more about that game from Brett Rump, who is over at the Pizza Hut over in the village of Coventry. If you want to stop by and say hello to him, grab something to eat. They have everything you could possibly want over there. Pizza Hut, pasta, wings, salad bars still going strong over there. So we encourage you to stop by there. Or if you're not in the area of Coventry, you can always plug in your Pizza Phone app into your phone, find the nearest Pizza Hut location to you, and find something delicious to either have there or take home. They most all have a drive-through now, make it nice and easy for you. Take home some pizza for the weekend. But what I'm going to do here, we're going to go into our H&K Chevrolet of New Haven football scoreboard for tonight, the 26th of September, and then we'll take a quick break. All of the scores that I have for you here so far are final. We're going to start off in the SAC, where tonight Bishop Luers shut out Concordia by a score of 42-0. Homestead shut out Snyder in our Midwest Box Breaks high school football game of the week, winning 38-0. And Carroll, who they will see next week in our Midwest Box Breaks next week, defeated Southside tonight by a score of 42-6. Checking a look at the Northeast 8 Conference tonight, Leo shuts out Belmont 47-0. Columbia City gets the win over New Haven 42-13. And East Noble shut out the Norwell Knights tonight by a score of 35-0. Taking a look at the ACAC tonight, Jay County over Woodland 21-7. Adams Central, there had been talk of perhaps an upset tonight, but not to be. Adams Central gets the win over South Adams by a score of 35-0. And Bluffton got the win over Southern Wells tonight by a score of 47-14. Northeast Corner Conference tonight, it was Angola over Fairfield by a score of 35-8. Lakeland defeated Central Noble 42-8. And sticking with the theme of 42, Eastside shut out Prairie Heights tonight by a score of 42-0. One more has gone final in the NECC. It was West Noble defeating the Garrett Railroaders tonight by a score of 17-6. And some independent action tonight. Fort Wayne Blackhawk made their way over to Toledo Christian in Ohio. Unfortunately, they were not able to get the win. Toledo Christian defeated Blackhawk Christian 27-0 tonight. And one more thing that we need to keep a track of in here tonight, as we are all fans of basketball here in the great state of Indiana. It's not looking good for the Indiana Fever down at Gamebridge Fieldhouse in Game 3 of a best-of-5 series. They currently trail by 10, 69-59 to the Las Vegas Aces with just over 4 minutes to go in the game. All right, we're going to go ahead and take our first break here, and when we come back, we're going to bring in my man Brett Rump, who again is over at the Pizza Hut at the Village of Coventry. Encourage you to stop by and say hello to him. If you can't make it in, you can also check out our show live from the mic and at Pizza Hut. That's at 1380 The Fan's YouTube. You can check that out at youtube.com/1380 The Fan, and you can also find the link on our Facebook at facebook.com/1380 The Fan. We'll take our first break. You're listening to the Kesters post-game show powered by Pizza Hut, live on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. And welcome back to the Kester's postgame show powered by Pizza Hut, coming to you live from the Pizza Hut at Coventry, as well as the mic here at our 1380 The Fan studio. Brett is over there at the Village of Coventry Pizza Hut, but we're still working on getting him connected. A little bit of a technical difficulty, but we will get him connected soon. In the meantime, a couple more games in the area have gone final. So what I'll go ahead and do is give you another rundown of our H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard. We're going to start off in the SAC, where now every game has gone final, and I can tell you that Northrop has pulled off a big win over Bishop Dwenger, winning by a field goal, 21-18. Bishop Lures shut out Concordia tonight, 42-0. Homestead shut out Snyder tonight in our Midwest Box Breaks High School football game of the week by a score of 38-0. Carroll got the win over Southside tonight by a score of 42-6, and it was Northside over Wayne tonight by a score of 51-7. Moving on to the Northeast 8, where I have a complete scoreboard for you. It was Leo shutting out Belmont tonight by a score of 47-0. It was Columbia City over New Haven tonight by a score of 42-13. DeKalb got the win over Huntington North tonight. That game is now final. DeKalb winning 42-28 over Huntington North. And East Noble shut out the Norwell Knights tonight by a score of 35-0. And moving on to the ACAC tonight, it was Jay County getting the win over Woodland by a score of 21-7. Adams Central, there was some talk last week after their 14-7 win. Could they be a little bit of a slump? Could South Adams come in and take advantage of a slumping Adams Central? But I think Adams Central heard everybody talking about them, and they put on a good show tonight, defeating South Adams 35-7. One more that has gone final in the ACAC, it was Bluffton over Southern Wells by a score of 47-14. One game that is out of conference in the ACAC that is yet to go final is Tipton and Heritage. That is our last game of the night that we are still waiting for a Final Four. And moving on to the Northeast Corner Conference for this evening, it was Angola getting the win over Fairfield tonight by a score of 35-8. It was Lakeland over Central Noble by a score of 42-8. Eastside shut out Prairie Heights tonight 42-0. Churubusco over Fremont by a score of 36-14. And West Noble got the win over Garrett 17-6. And checking out our independent schools in action tonight, Blackhawk Christian did make their way over to Toledo Christian in Ohio tonight. Unfortunately, they did not get the win over in Toledo. Toledo Christian gets the win over Blackhawk Christian tonight by a score of 27-0. Taking a look at the Indiana Fever, it looks like they are going to be down 2-1 in a best-of-5 series in the semifinals of the WNBA playoffs to the Las Vegas Aces. The Aces lead 75-63 with just over a minute and 15 seconds remaining, so it would take a miracle by the Fever to pull this one out and even up the series, or to take a 2-1 lead, I'm sorry. All right, we're going to go ahead and take our next break here. Hopefully, by the time we get back, we'll be able to have Brett Rump joining us live from the Pizza Hut over there at the Village of Coventry. He's all set up. We're just getting all the technical bugaboos sorted out now, so we're going to go ahead and work on that during this next commercial break. In the meantime, if you want to keep posted with scores, if you want to keep us up to date on anything that you saw on any high school football games tonight in and around your area of the 260, we'd love to hear about your thoughts. We'd love to welcome your comments here on our 1380 The Fan YouTube stream. We'd love to have you on there. Just check out youtube.com/1380thefan, and you can comment and leave all your thoughts on any of tonight's high school football games, or if you have any thoughts about tomorrow's college's games, if you have any thoughts on the Colts on Sunday, we'd still love to welcome your comments. So check us out, youtube.com/1380thefan. You can also find the stream on our Facebook at facebook.com/1380thefan. Or if you want to do it old-fashioned and just shoot an old-fashioned text message our way, we would love to read those too. Our text line is 260-447-8500. 260-447-8500. We would love to hear your texts about high school football tonight. Again, football, college football, a lot of games on the slate tomorrow, Colts on Sunday. We'd love to hear your thoughts about any of it. We're going to go ahead and take our next break, and hopefully we'll be back with Brett Rump. This is the Kester's High School Football Postgame Show powered by Pizza Hut, live on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Still coming to you live from the Kester's Pizza Hut post-game show. Kester's High School Football post-game show powered by Pizza Hut here at the mic and at the Village of Coventry, where Brett is working on getting set up over there. He would still love to see you in the meantime as he's working on getting set up if you want to stop by that Pizza Hut, or if you're not in that area, if you are somewhere on the other side of town but still want to pick up a delicious dinner either for tonight or to have some leftovers for Saturday or even perhaps Sunday, we invite you to check out your Pizza Hut app on your phone and find the closest Pizza Hut to you. Check out their menu and pick up something to take home for the weekend. It's absolutely delicious. You can't go wrong with anything from Pizza Hut. All right, we're going to go ahead and take another look at our H&K of Chevrolet High School football scoreboard here. H&K Chevrolet of New Haven, great place for cars. We're going to start off in the SAC, where tonight, and it was a close one, but Northrop gets the win over Bishop Dwenger, 21-18. Bishop Luers shut out Concordia, 42-0. Homestead got the win over Snyder in our Midwest Box Breaks High School football game of the week by a score of 38-0. Carroll got the win over Southside tonight, 42-6, and it was Northside over Wayne, pretty big, 51-7. Northeast 8 action tonight, it was Leo shutting out Belmont 47-0. Columbia City got the win over New Haven 42-13. It was DeKalb over Huntington North 42-28, and East Noble shut out Norwell 35-0. Moving on to ACAC action tonight, it was Jay County over Woodland 21-7. Adams Central got the win over South Adams by a score of 35-7, so it remains the Adams Central Athletic Conference, as you know if you listen to Brett and I on a regular basis. One more in the ACAC that has gone final. It was Bluffton over Southern Wells by a score of 47-14. Moving on to the Northeast Corner Conference tonight, it was Angola. The Hornets got a win over Fairfield, 35-8. It was Lakeland getting a big win over Central Noble tonight, 42-8. Eastside shut out Prairie Heights tonight, 42-8. Or no, I'm sorry, Eastside shuts out Prairie Heights tonight, 42-0. That's what a shutout is. Churubusco over Fremont tonight, 36-14. West Noble defeated Garrett by a score of 17-6. And in independent action, Black Hawk Christian fell at Toledo Christian tonight. Toledo Christian gets the win, 27-0. Taking a look at the Indiana Fever, that's our bonus score for tonight. And like I said, it's going to be 2-1 Las Vegas Aces after tonight. They lead by about 10 with just under 30 seconds remaining in that game. So a lot of action still happening tonight. We're still trying to get Brett here connected, and we're going to get him connected soon. So what we're going to go to do is we still invite you to tune in, whether it's on youtube.com/1380thefan, whether you want to find our link on Facebook. You can do that at facebook.com/1380thefan, or you can always text us at 260-447-8500. We'll be coming up next right after this break when we continue with the Kester's postgame show powered by Pizza Hut right here on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
100.9 FM.
And welcome back to the Kester's postgame show powered by Pizza Hut. We are coming to you live both from the Pizza Hut at Coventry, where Brett Rump is standing by working on some technical issues. He'll be joining us shortly to talk about tonight's high school football game of the week, brought to you by Midwest Brox Brakes. And tonight featured a one-sided matchup that we did not necessarily see coming between the Homestead Spartans and the Snyder Panthers, with Homestead being on the winning end of that game by a score of 38-0. And so with that, we got a fantastic text from one of our pregame show hosts, Eric Dutkevich. It is a pretty interesting tidbit here. It says, this is the first time Snyder has ever been on the losing side of a running clock. Mercy Rule started in 2019. Snyder lost to Penn 38-0 in 2013. The 2003 semi-state loss was 62-27, 35 points. He went back and has not found an SAC loss for Snyder this bad, which is from 1994 and on. So it's clear to say that this is definitely a bit of a down year for Snyder, and I don't know if anybody had predicted them being this far down in this much of a slump, but it's certainly something that they're going to need to work on as the season continues to go on. Certainly, we have to consider them out of a competitive role for the top of the SAC. So we're going to go ahead and run down our H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard one more time here for you tonight before we hit another commercial break. Starting off in the SAC tonight, it was Northrop over Bishop Dwenger 21-18. Bishop Lures shut out Concordia 42-0. Homestead got the win over Snyder in our Midwest Box Breaks High School football game of the week by 38-0. Carroll got the win over Southside tonight 42-6. And Northside got the win over Wayne 51-7. Northeast 8 action tonight. Leo shuts out Belmont 47-0. Columbia City got the win over New Haven 42-13. DeKalb over Huntington North tonight 42-28, and East Noble defeated Norwell 35-0. Moving on to ACAC action, it was Jay County defeating Woodland tonight 21-7. Adams Central over South Adams 35-7. Bluffton got the win over Southern Wells 47-14. And moving on to the Northeast Corner Conference, it was Angola over Fairfield tonight 35-8. Lakeland defeated Central Noble 42-8. Eastside shuts out Prairie Heights 42-0. Churubusco beat Fremont tonight 36-14, and it was West Noble over the Garrett Railroaders 17-6. Independent action, Blackhawk Christian fell to Toledo Christian tonight. Toledo Christian wins 27-0. Let's see. And I am still not hearing anything from our man Brett over on the other side of the studio over at the Pizza Hut at Coventry. So we're going to continue to work on that and still invite you to come and check out our stream, listen to our show on 100.9 FM/1380 The Fan, or you can check us out at youtube.com/1380 The Fan or on facebook.com/1380 The Fan. Again, we'll continue to read any comments that roll through, whether it's on the text line, whether it's on our YouTube page. Whatever you want, wherever you want to leave a comment, you can find us. Just check out 1380 The Fan. We'll take another break, and when we come back, we'll hopefully have Brett Rump. But if not, I'll continue to bring you high school scores from in and around the area as you're listening to the Kester's High School Football Postgame Show powered by Pizza Hut, live on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Running a business is challenging enough without the added stress of
100.9 FM.
And welcome back to the Kester's High School Football postgame show powered by Pizza Hut, coming to you live from both the Pizza Hut at Coventry and the Mike here at our 1380 The Fan studio, where I, Adam Lundy, have a rundown of all of our scores in and around the 260 tonight. So we're going to go ahead and run down all of those final scores that I have for you so far. Nearly final scoreboard, nearly complete. We're waiting on one more game. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But we're going to start off on the H&K Chevrolet of New Haven scoreboard in the SAC, where Northrop got a close win over Bishop Dwenger tonight, 21-18, and I believe that was a comeback win as well. Bishop Luers shut out Concordia tonight, 42-0. In our Midwest Box Breaks High School Football Game of the Week, which you heard right here on 1380 The Fan, it was Homestead in a dominant win over the Snyder Panthers, shutting them out 38-0. Carroll got a big win over Southside 42-6, and it was Northside over Wayne 51-7. Northeast State action tonight. Leo shuts out Belmont 47-0. Columbia City over New Haven 42-13. DeKalb over Huntington North 42-28, and East Noble shuts out Norwell 35-0. ACAC Jay County over Woodland 21-7. Adams Central over South Adams 35-7, and Bluffton over Southern Wells tonight 47-14. Northeast Corner Conference action. Angola defeated Fairfield 35-8. Lakeland over Central Noble 42-8. Eastside defeated Prairie Heights tonight 42-0. Churubusco over Fremont 36-14. West Noble over Garrett 17-6. And in some independent action, it was Toledo Christian out of Ohio getting the win over Blackhawk Christian 27-0. Taking a look at our bonus score tonight, the Indiana Fever did fall to the Las Vegas Aces by a score of 84-72. The Aces now lead that series 2-1, and in a little bit of exciting college football action, Virginia leads Florida State 35-28 with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left. So that's a look at our H&K Chevrolet scoreboard of New Haven. I'm trying to see, do we have Brett Rump on the line yet? It looks like we do not have Brett Rump on the line yet to talk about tonight's high school football game of the week, brought to you by Midwest Box Breaks between the Snyder Panthers and the Homestead Spartans, but we will still attempt to get connected to him shortly, and hopefully he'll be able to talk to me about tonight's game and talk to me about some of the standings now, where things shake out after tonight's wins and losses in all of the SEC and other conferences, and hopefully we'll also get a coach or two from one of the winning sides tonight on the line as well. We're going to go ahead and take our next break here. You're listening to the Kester's High School Football postgame show powered by Pizza Hut right here on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Pizza Hut live on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. I'm Adam Lundy, and I'm bringing you all of your area scores from in and around the 260 tonight. And again, you can join Brett Rump over at the Coventry Pizza Hut as he is still getting set up over there. We're just going to say that. And, running into a little technical difficulties. It happens, but we're going to get through it, and we're going to get him on the air soon, and it's going to be great. But in the meantime, I just want to go through our H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard for tonight. And I'll mention a couple of these games here as well as I have a couple little bit of tidbits of info about some of these games as we continue to get recaps rolling in throughout the night. But starting off in the SAC, it was Northrop getting the win over Bishop Dwenger tonight, 21-18. Bishop Lures shut out Concordia by a score of 42-0. Homestead got the win over Snyder tonight by a score of 38-0 in our Midwest Box Breaks High School football game of the week, which you heard right here on 1380 The Fan. And Carroll got a win over Southside tonight, 42-6. And it was Northside big over Wayne tonight, 51-7. Wayne still working on figuring things out under their new coaching regime a little bit. Moving on to the Northeast 8 tonight, Belmont continues to struggle. Leo shuts them out at home tonight in Leo by a score of 47-0. Columbia City over New Haven tonight, 42-13. DeKalb over Huntington North tonight by a score of 42-28, and East Noble shuts out the Norwell Knights tonight by a score of 35-0. Moving on to the ACAC, it was Jay County over Woodland this evening by a score of 21-7. Adams Central makes sure the ACAC remains the Adams Central Athletic Conference with a win over South Adams tonight, defeating the Starfires 35-7. And it was Bluffton over Southern Wells by a score of 47-14. Moving on to the Northeast Corner Conference tonight, it was Angola over Fairfield by a score of 35-8. Lakeland defeated Central Noble 42-8. Eastside shut out Prairie Heights tonight 42-0. Churubusco over Fremont 36-14. And it was West Noble over Garrett to round out the NECC by a score of 17-6. Independent action tonight, Blackhawk Christian fell to Toledo Christian out of Ohio. Toledo Christian won 27-0. Bonus score for tonight, it has gone final. It was a win by the Las Vegas Aces over the Indiana Fever by a score of 84-72. So the Aces now have a 2-1 series lead in that best of 5 WNBA semifinals. And I can tell you, looking at this college football matchup here between the Virginia Cavaliers and the Florida State Seminoles, Virginia continues to lead by 35-28 with just over 2:20 remaining, but they do have a 4th and 3, so they might have to punt the ball back. I'm not sure. I'm not a college football coach, but I would love to hear your thoughts on any coaching decisions, any big plays from tonight. If there's any players from your high school team that you want to shout out, we welcome your comments on both our YouTube at youtube.com/1380thefan, or you can text us at 260-447-8500. We're going to go ahead and look through some of these couple games from tonight, some interesting tidbits. Looking at East Noble's 35-0 shutout over Norwell tonight. 28 of East Noble's 35 points were scored in the second quarter. Riley Biddle had 179 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. Austin Phillips, who we've talked about a lot, he had a rushing touchdown along with Lucas Neiman and Alex Scott. And Alex Phillips also had receiving touchdowns for the Knights. Taking a look at Leo's 47-0 shutout over Belmont, Nate Foster had just 4 carries tonight, but how many yards? 173 yards on 4 carries, and he had 3 touchdowns. So Nate Foster continues to show why he's probably the best running back in the area. Also, Aaron Perlick, 6 carries, 128 yards for a touchdown. Leo outgained Belmont 369-45 yards for the game. So like I said, when I was given the scoreboard, Belmont does continue to struggle. One more quick recap. Actually, I got 2 more quick recaps for you before we go to break. Carroll's 42-6 win over Southside. Gabe Friesinger had 239 yards and 2 touchdown passes. Asher Wagoner had 3 touchdowns on just 7 carries and 13 yards. Jaden Van Pelt and Harrison Sheely touchdown receptions, and a TJ Snow touchdown reception from Robert Murphy III for Southside. And we'll hear more about our Midwest Box Breaks High School football game of the week tonight between Homestead and Snyder, with the Spartans shutting out the Panthers 38-0. But I can tell you real quick, Homestead held Snyder to 122 total yards in the game and just 6 first downs. Logan Frieden had 224 yards passing with 4 total touchdowns, 2 in the air, 2 on the ground. Liam Moore Big night for Liam tonight with 2 touchdown receptions. And like I mentioned, this is probably the worst loss in SAC for the Snyder Panthers. All right, we're going to go ahead and take our next break here. And when we come back, we'll continue to talk about tonight's scores. We'll check out some of your comments that you've been leaving, and we'll have a whole lot more fun as we continue to wrap up tonight's exciting high school football action in and around the 260. That's all coming up next. You're listening to the Kester's postgame show powered by Pizza Hut right here on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Mike at Coventry Village on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
And welcome back to the Kester's postgame show powered by Pizza Hut, coming to you live from both the Pizza Hut at Coventry and the Mike here at our 1380 The Fan studios. I'm Adam Lundy, bringing you up to 11 o'clock when we switch it over to Bob Lovell's Indiana Sports Talk, as you can get a statewide recap of Indiana high school football. But in the meantime, like I said, I'm taking you up to 11 o'clock, bringing you all of our area scores from in and around the 260. There's a lot of exciting action here in Fort Wayne, and things continuing to shape up as we're well past the halfway point now here in high school football, as we continue to get closer and closer to Thanksgiving and the eventual run down to Lucas Oil Stadium, hopefully for a good amount of our area teams. But what I have for you tonight is our H&K Chevrolet high school football scoreboard that's brought to you by H&K Chevrolet of New Haven. We're going to go ahead and run through our final scores here for in and around the area. Starting off in the SAC tonight, it was Northrop getting a close win over Bishop Dwenger by a score of 21-18. Nice comeback victory for the Bruins. After that, it was Bishop Luers at Concordia by a score. Bishop Luers shuts out Concordia 42-0. Homestead shut out Snyder 38-0 in our Midwest Box Breaks high school football game of the week. It was Carroll defeating Southside tonight by a score of 42-6, and it was Northside over Wayne by a score of 51-7. Moving on to the Northeast State, it was Leo over Belmont by a score of 47-0. Columbia City defeated New Haven 42-13. DeKalb over Huntington North 42-28, and East Noble over Norwell 35-0. ACAC action: Jay County over Woodland 21-7. Adams Central over South Adams 35-7. Bluffton defeated Southern Wells 47-14. Moving on to the Northeast Corner Conference, Angola over Fairfield 35-8. Lakeland defeated Central Noble 42-8. Eastside shuts out Prairie Heights 42-0. Churubusco over Fremont 36-14, and West Noble defeated Garrett 17-6. Independent action: Toledo Christian out of Ohio defeated Blackhawk Christian 27-0. And our bonus scores tonight: the Indiana Fever fall to the Las Vegas Aces at Gainbridge Fieldhouse 84-72. The Aces now lead that series 2-1. We'll take another break here on our Kester's postgame show powered by Pizza Hut, and when we come back, we'll have a whole lot more excitement right here on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Live from the mic at Coventry Village on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Well, normally we would be live at the Pizza Hut, but tonight, technical issues. So look who's shown up here at the mic in Coventry. I am here with Adam Lundy, and, well, we had a good one tonight if you're Homestead. If you're Snyder, it's not so good, as the Homestead Spartans roll on their homecoming night 38-0, and ended up with a running clock late in that game because of the margin of victory. Snyder just could not figure out anything offensively that they could do consistently against Homestead. Homestead's defense, especially the front three, controlled things in the trenches. And I brought this point up to Shannon Griffith during the game, that if you put 3 defensive linemen against 5 offensive linemen and your 3 are better than their 5, you've got a chance to be really successful as a defense. And that's what Homestead did tonight. They were able to control the line of scrimmage with their front 3. That gave the linebackers a lot of room to pursue and go make plays. And that's what Homestead did. They shut down Snyder tonight. And we had a lot of good games in our area. Our game ended up getting out of hand with Homestead a dominating win, but this is historic because this is an area where Snyder has never gone before. You go back through history, and I'm not sure they've ever been beaten in a Summit Athletic Conference game by more than 38 points, at least if you go back to 1994, which is right now what John Harrell can take us back to. But we're talking about a history that goes back into the 1970s. But they were beaten by 38 points. They've lost an SAC game by 35. I don't know if they've ever lost an SAC game by 38. I know, Adam, you've been doing some research. I've been doing technical work. So
Yeah.
tell me, what did you find out?
Yeah, this comes from longtime Snyder statistician Eric Dudkevich, and he said this is the first time Snyder has ever been on the losing side of a running clock. So we'll start off there. That's crazy in and of itself. Let's see. Yep, Snyder lost to Penn 38-0 in 2013. The 2003 semi-state loss was 62-27, which was 35 points. He said he went back through Harrell and has not found an SAC loss for Snyder this bad, which is from 1994 on.
Wow. So it is a historic win for Homestead, or depending on how you look at it, a historic loss for the Snyder Panthers as Homestead gets the win. Now, Homestead trying to keep pace at the top with Bishop Dwenger. And how about it? Bishop Dwenger got their first loss tonight to the Northrop Bruins, who were able to find a way to come from behind in the fourth quarter and get the victory over the Bishop Dwenger Saints. And so we've got a logjam right now with Bishop Dwenger, Northrop, Carroll, and Homestead, a 4-way tie in a 5-team division. They're all 3-1.
Yeah, and that's going to be a fantastic matchup for our next Friday, Midwest Box Breaks High School Game of the Week.
Let's hope we have a better one than we did tonight. Now, last week we had all kinds of fireworks from both teams. This week, not as many from Snyder. And of course, Snyder made a change at quarterback at halftime, thought maybe that would provide some offensive spark. They did seem to be a little more energized in that second half. And they came out of the locker room, thought they had some strong runs. Jordan Davis gave them a couple of good runs. They got the ball down into Snyder territory fairly deep. They were inside the 30, but then the drive stalled. They turned it over on downs. And then Homestead just goes back the other way and adds points with the field goal that made it 24-0. And that was kind of a backbreaker. Snyder needed to get the first points in the second half if they were going to have any chance to come back in this game. But let's talk about the Northrop Bruins. I thought tonight, quite honestly, I thought that Bishop Dwenger's defense was going to be good enough against Northrop because I thought Bishop Dwenger would be able to score points against that Northrop defense. And so I'm going to give credit to Northrop defensively. And that's going to be the big Achilles heel right now for the Bishop Dwenger Saints. They're going to have to figure out a way to put up more points. Their defense, I think, is good enough to win a state championship. But we've seen Leo, we've seen East Noble. We see what those two teams can do offensively. And that's who Bishop Dwenger is going to have in their path through the sectional. They're going to have teams like East Noble and Leo that they're probably not going to completely shut down. And they're going to have to score points against. And if that offense can't put up points against Northrop, you start to get a little bit concerned. Will they be able to put up points against anybody? And tonight they couldn't put up enough to get the win over Northrop. So the Bruins get a huge win, and Carroll continues to roll. I think they're starting to find their offense. They got a little bit of a running game. Asher Wagner has become kind of a featured running back for them. He's a young kid that, they're just searching for answers in their backfield. And he's just taken over, and he did a good job tonight. I saw his stats, and he had a solid performance for the Carroll Chargers. But on the other side, how about the turnaround for Bishop Luers? You know, we talked about it early in the year. They struggled offensively because every skill position was a sophomore. And we said, wait until that team develops, because Kyle Lindsay does a great job developing young talent like that, especially at the quarterback position. We knew that it would take a little bit of time, but they had that big offensive line to run behind. Once they got those young kids getting a little more comfortable, getting some confidence, they could turn it on offensively. Well, did they ever turn it on? And they did it to my Concordia Cadets.
Yeah, big win over your Cadets tonight, 42-0.
Yeah, I think they raced out at 14 in the first quarter, 14 more in the second quarter, and by that time, it was pretty much over.
But you mentioned it. This is a Lures team that's definitely starting to figure things out now. They had that double overtime win last week over Northside, 31-28, and then they carry that
momentum. Northside team.
No question, they were great tonight too. 51-7 over Wayne.
I mean, the Jalen Rivers kid, he is a special talent, and that's the thing is you look at some of the teams that get the quarterback play, and you've got Gabe Freisinger playing well for Carroll. He's got plenty of weapons to throw to. You've got David Callison at Northrop. He's got the weapons to throw to. Then you take Rivers at Northside. These are some teams that can put up some big points, and that's the thing that's the challenge for Bishop Dwenger is they're not keeping pace offensively. They've, what are they? They won a game 9-6 tonight. They have a 20-18. They beat Homestead 15-3. I mean, they've played a lot of low-scoring games, and I think that defense is good enough to win a state title. I'll say that, but the offense right now might not even get them through sectional.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a Bishop Dwenger team that up until this week had held all of their opponents to 27 points, but tonight they give up 21, and that proved to be too many for the Dwenger Saints. So, like you said, it has to be a question of can they score in that 21-point range when they're going to go up against some of these higher offensive caliber teams that they're not going to be able to completely stop.
Yep, and I think that's the magic number. They've got to get that offense to be putting up 20-plus points because it's going to be tough to consistently have teams scoring 20-something against that defense. Now, how about my pick? South Adams with the upset over Adams Central. Boy, did I nail that one.
You did not nail it. Adams Central heard everybody talk, and they heard everybody say last week, oh, they only won 14-7. South Adams had a good win last week. They're going to be coming in hot to a team that just scraped by. What's going to happen? But no, Adams Central wins 35-7.
Yeah, I missed.
Swing and a miss.
I took the big rip, and I came up empty. And now I've got the walk of shame back to the dugout, strike three. But I mean, that's an impressive win for Adams Central
no question.
Because yes, we've seen these Adams Central stories over the last 4 years, because obviously when they've done something like they've done for the length of time they've done it, they've had to do it with new faces. They can't, I mean, you don't have the same players for 4 straight years. And so a lot of times they make a changeover at some key positions. The next year, they might start slow. They might have an upset like they did last year, and they lost to Garrett, which turned out to be a really good Garrett team.
Yeah.
We were all kind of surprised by that loss early in the year. And all Adams Central did was just go ahead and go through the path all the way down to the state championship game. But the bottom line here is that Adams Central is starting to get things figured out, what they've got to do to win big football games, bright lights. Maybe South Adams wasn't ready for that kind of stage, where Adams Central, I mean, think about it. When you've played in 4 state championship games, a Friday night in Monroe, that's a piece of cake. But you take a South Adams team that's never played in a game with this kind of magnitude and emphasis and spotlight, and all of a sudden, do they handle it? And I think maybe that's part of what we're seeing. We're seeing a team that was deer in headlights, so to speak, and then you see a team that it's like, this is business as usual for us. We've been here, done this. We've seen the players before us, how they handled games like this. And so Adams Central comes away with a very impressive victory. They raced out to a 28-0 halftime lead and kind of coasted from there. And I guess before we go to break, we do have to mention the Indiana Fever.
Yeah, 84-72 loss tonight at Gamebridge Fieldhouse at the hands of the Las Vegas Aces, who now lead the best of 5 series 2-1.
They are doing their best to get John Nolan a high school broadcasting gig next week.
They know it. We want to get him here Friday night.
They are doing a really good job making sure that John Nolan is going to be available next Friday for that Carroll Homestead game, which will take place out of Carroll. And that's going to be one of those games that's going to decide. I mean, ultimately, these couple of head-to-head meetings next week, you've got Northrop playing Snyder. Now, Snyder, of course, has fallen out, but Northrop's got to come back and play a Snyder team that they basically haven't beaten in decades. And get a win against the Snyder Panthers. You gotta think at some point Snyder Pride is going to take over, and they're going to start playing some better football. Tonight, they showed up. It just didn't look like they even wanted to be there, and that's not a typical Snyder performance.
Maybe it'll take a case of what we saw like with Adams Central tonight. You have a bad week this week, but then you get a little bit fired up to go up against your rival in the following week, and you have a sound victory. But like you said, I mean, I was looking at, and this is the most points that Snyder has let up in a long time, 132 before this tonight, so they're up to 170 points given up, which is far too many.
And then I'm thinking Bishop Dwenger Lures. Is that the game next week?
Let me double check here. Yep, it's the Battle of the Bishops.
So next week, you've got Northrop Snyder, you've got Homestead Carroll, Bishop Dwenger, who's trying to keep pace on that big side, against Bishop Lures, who is leading in the smaller division, which of course is A and B, and they don't want to call it big school, small school. It's the B division, but Bishop Lures, who right now is at the top of that because of their win over Northside. And it'll be interesting to see how far Bishop Lures has come, because we know what Bishop Dwenger can do, but can Bishop Lures defensively keep that Bishop Dwenger offense shut down and find a way to make an exciting 12-9 game or something, because that might be what we see with those two teams in the Battle of the Bishops. But it'll be a fun week in the SAC. We'll take a break. We're going to come back. Got plenty more here up until the top of the hour, and then we'll turn it over to the coach, Bob Lovell. He'll take us around the state with Indiana Sports Talk and look at scores and highlights from around the state of Indiana, talk to some of the Indiana coaches. So you get a full plethora of high school coverage on Friday night, and we'll continue with it. We are live at the mic in the village of Coventry. It is the Custer's post-game show, powered by Pizza Hut on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. it was a good one with Homestead and Snyder. Now, it was one-sided. It got to be a little bit of a blowout there with a running clock late, but Homestead gets a very impressive victory over the Snyder Panthers. For Snyder, they had changed quarterbacks at halftime. That didn't seem to ignite a whole lot with their offense. Right now, they've just got to figure out a way to get the ball downfield to receivers. And, it starts with providing the quarterback some time, being able to get the receivers to create some space and opportunity, and quarterbacks that have the confidence to throw it downfield to them. Because right now, most of the throws that are being made by the Snyder quarterbacks, we saw two of them tonight, they were not deep downfield. And so when they get behind, like they got behind, it puts them behind the eight ball because all of a sudden they have to do something they're not real accustomed to doing, trying to throw big chunks down the field, and it didn't work. It didn't work. It was a tough night for the Snyder Panthers. Homestead reaped the benefits. Homestead wins it. Somebody said it was homecoming night. I can't imagine it. Was it homecoming night tonight?
I believe it was.
I mean, who goes into a season and schedules Snyder as your homecoming opponent? But aren't you supposed to pick on the team you can beat easily to impress all of the alumni? But Homestead did it anyway. So
yeah.
Credit to the Homestead Spartans with an impressive win tonight.
And you mentioned it. I mean, you normally wouldn't schedule a team like Snyder for your homecoming night because from in the past, this is a team that we've seen not be an offensive juggernaut per se, but just a team that can always move the ball downfield on offense methodically. I would say that's what I would call the Snyder offense. Is it's always been methodical, and it's always been an offense that's been able to pick up yards, whether it's the run game or using the run game to set up some of those throws. But like you said, it just hasn't been able to get going.
Taking a look at some of the big numbers from today, and you talked about a few of them earlier, and we've talked about Jaden Rivers and what he is able to do at Northside. Comes into the Northside Legends program, takes over a quarterback tonight, 330 passing yards, couple of touchdowns. Jarmeek Harrison had three of those catches, three of the receptions for 120 yards, plus a touchdown was a 64-yard completion in the third quarter. Gernard Moore, he took a kickoff on the opening kickoff, 95 yards for a quick score, and Northside rolled over Wayne. Hey, I did get this part right, though, when I made my picks this week. I did get the fact that Wayne was going to score a touchdown. I said they might not get their first win. They might lose the football game, but at least they were going to score a touchdown, and Wayne gets a touchdown against the Northside Legends. Eastside, Joe Bridgman once again. Big night, this time not on the ground where he's had a couple of 200-yard rushing performances, but tonight he did it through the air. 7 of 12 for 146 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then had 10 carries for another 122 yards on top of it. So he's still running the ball well. But Eastside, a big 42-0 win over Prairie Heights. DeKalb, they get the win over Huntington North. They hold on 42-28. That was a game where DeKalb jumped out early and kind of just maintained that lead throughout. Eli McCormick was 14 of 26 passing, 212 yards, 5 touchdowns for the DeKalb quarterback. Nice night for DeKalb. Logan Frieden in the game we had, the junior quarterback, and, he came into a pressure situation where you had Michael White, who we thought was going to be the quarterback for the Homestead Spartans. And Michael White ends up getting hurt the first game. Logan Frieden comes in, goes 0 for 9 in the rest of that football game. And you think, boy, this kid might come in, have shaky confidence, but he turned around immediately. From game 2 on, he's played well. Tonight, 17 of 25, 224 yards, couple of touchdowns, and rushed for 47 more. Solid night that's exactly what a Homestead quarterback needs to do. Be efficient, high completion percentage, and when the opportunity is there, run with the football. Good balance for the Homestead attack tonight in their big win over Snyder.
Yeah, and I do think you have to give some credit to the Homestead coaching too for being able to have another guy able to come into the system and take over for Michael White and see the success that they've had so far on the season. Like you said, 38-0 shutout for technically what is a backup quarterback. You'll take that any day.
Freisinger, as we mentioned earlier from Carroll, threw for 239 passing yards, couple of touchdowns. But Asher Wagner, and we've talked to Coach Dinan about this, that, the one thing Carroll needs is they need to figure out how to get balance in their offense. How can they get that running game going? Because the first 4 or 5 games of the season, that just wasn't there. Now we started to see signs that maybe it was coming last week. Part of that was Gabe Freisinger with his legs, not just with his arm. And now tonight, Asher Wagner with 3 touchdown runs, all of them short runs, 1 yard, 4 yards, and 1 yard. But at least they're doing something positive on the ground. Leo, the big win. You mentioned Nate Foster. Talk about efficiency.
Yeah, that's what I said, man. Crazy.
Good luck trying to it's like the greased pig. I mean, it's like you hand him the football, nobody can bring him down. He just slides through everybody.
No, yeah.
173 yards on 4 carries.
How long is the football field? I mean, you have to think about just that is insane.
Here, just go get it. Go do it.
Just go run. Just go get a touchdown, whatever.
Yeah, and he had 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 times he carried for 58, 30, and 75. If you do quick math, that's 163. So he had a 10-yard carry mixed in there that he didn't score on.
Oh, no, only a 10-yard carry.
Yeah, what's wrong, Nate? Tired?
Only a first down?
Yeah, only a 10-yard carry. But anyway, good night. Let's check the scoreboard. H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard. Get caught up on all the action from week 6 tonight.
Awesome. Thanks, Brett. We're going to start off in the SAC, where Northrop did get a close win over Bishop Dwenger tonight, 21-18. Bishop Luers shut out Concordia 42-0. It was Homestead over Snyder in our Midwest Box Breaks game of the week by a score of 38-0. Carroll got the win over Southside 42-6, and it was Northside over Wayne 51-7. Moving on to the Northeast State, Leo shuts out Belmont 47-0. Columbia City gets the win over New Haven 42-13. DeKalb over Huntington North tonight 42-28, and East Noble shut out Norwell 35-0. Moving on to the ACAC, it was Jay County over Woodland 21-7. Adams Central over South Adams 35-7. Bluffton defeated Southern Wells 47-14. Northeast Corner Conference tonight, it was Angola over Fairfield 35-8. Lakeland over Central Noble 42-8. Eastside shuts out Prairie Heights 42-0. Churubusco over Fremont 36-14, and Garrett fell to West Noble. West Noble gets the win over Garrett 17-6. And in independent action, Blackhawk Christian fell to Toledo Christian out of Ohio tonight by a score 27-0. Toledo Christian gets the win. Bonus score, I have to mention it. Aces defeat the Indiana Fever tonight in Indy 84-72 to take a 2-1 series lead. And there was a crazy college football game going on right now too. We won't talk too much about it, but it's in second overtime between Virginia and Florida State.
It's interesting because that Fever game, the Fever got down early. They were down double digits in the first half and then made a furious rally to make it a 1-point game at halftime. Had the lead for, back and forth in that third quarter. But then in the fourth quarter, that's when the game got decided as the Aces pulled away. What was it, a 25-16 fourth quarter?
Yeah, and you wonder how much of that is tired legs. I mean, like I've mentioned before, this is a Frankenstein's monster of an Indiana Fever roster at this point. So anything that they can go further ahead is good news at this point.
Absolutely. So tomorrow we'll get college football, and we're going to be your home for college football, just as we are each and every week. We've got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish with a rare noon kickoff. I can't remember the last time that Notre Dame played at noon. I mean, generally they're a 3:30 or a 7:30 prime time, but a noon kickoff tomorrow, and they've got a tough one down in Fayetteville against the Arkansas Razorbacks. A few years ago, I was down in Fayetteville. The Mastodons played Arkansas. Saw the stadium. It's not far from Bud Walton Arena. But that's going to be where Notre Dame has to play. And so it's going to be a test for Notre Dame going back on the road. Of course, their first experience on the road did not end favorably as they lost to Miami. This will be no cakewalk as well, going down to take on Arkansas. And Notre Dame has a lot of holes that they've got to fill. They cannot let the boat leak, so to speak. They've got to be able to keep this afloat because they cannot afford another loss. And this is one of those games where I think you go into it thinking maybe it's a 60-40 game. I mean, I feel like Notre Dame's favored. Notre Dame's a better football team, but you play on the road. You play with an odd start time that maybe you're not used to. We'll see what happens. Because remember, that's going to be an 11 a.m. start in Arkansas. That's an early start for the road team.
Yeah, I have the information here for you. The last time Notre Dame football played a regular season game at noon was on September 25th of 2021 against Wisconsin. However, they did also have a noon kickoff game against Navy, but that was a neutral site game in Baltimore. That was in 2022.
What'd they do with those games?
I'd have to check out what the.
They don't tell you if they won or lost. They
No,
just
they
tell
don't
you
tell
when
me.
they play.
Yeah, I know. I want the results
Isn't
too.
that like one of the first things you would ask is, okay, if they've had to do it before, what are the results of those games when they
I can
play?
tell you they defeated Navy 51-14 in 2022 when they played at noon.
I was more interested in the Wisconsin
I
game.
know. That's what I was looking for
That's
too.
the one that I would think they would maybe have the trouble with.
We'll get on it. We got the crack research.
But
team.
we've got Notre Dame, Arkansas. You can listen to it starting with the pregame coverage at 11 o'clock on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. And the great Don Fisher is going to be calling Indiana football on the road at Iowa. First road test for the Indiana Hoosiers. I'll tell you, that was one of the most impressive college football performances I've seen in a while, what they did to Illinois last week. And so we'll see if they can follow that up against Iowa. You know, the worst thing you can have, and I don't think this happens to a Curt Cignetti team, is a team that starts to believe too much in themselves. Last week, they went into that game kind of as the underappreciated, undervalued underdog against the 9th-ranked Illini. This week now, everybody thinks Indiana's a really good football team, and that's all you've been hearing, right? All of a sudden, the national talk shows are talking about Indiana football. And that's because the first 3 weeks, none of them took time to watch Indiana. They had no clue what Indiana had because they didn't care to take the time to watch Indiana play Kennesaw State or Indiana State.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of a sudden they decide, let's go ahead and check this out. I want to see how good Illinois is. And what they found out was Indiana's the one who made the statement. And they jump 8 spots in the polls. All of a sudden, all the people like Joel Klatt are saying, you know what? Indiana's a really good football team. And I would say know something, Sherlock, but I can't say that. But the reality is we've known it, Adam. We've known it since before the season that there was the potential for this Indiana team to be better than they were a year ago, and they were a darn good football team last year. The only thing that I said would hold Indiana back is they have a tougher schedule. And so they might lose 2 games. And are you going to hold that against Indiana if they lose a couple of times? I mean, what do they got on their schedule? They got Oregon, they got Penn State. Okay, well, we already know they're going to be Penn State. That's not going to be a problem. But the Oregon game could be a question. So
that is a big one. But like we've said, I mean, just going to this game against Iowa, if there's anybody that's going to have Indiana ready, it's Curt Cignetti. I mean, we saw him in this game against Illinois. They were up, 30, 40 points, and he still looks like he's honked off and wants to, punch half of his offensive line square in the jaw. But I think he'll be ready. I think the team will be ready for their test tomorrow against the Hawkeyes.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break because I don't know if we have to take one or not.
Yes.
I don't want to miss one. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get in our last break. And hopefully this is our last break. And we'll take you up to the top of the hour. When we come back, we're going to take another look at the H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard. That's coming up. Final comments about tonight's high school football performance. We'll also check text line, any comments you might have on our video. If you've been checking out our video tonight, we are on YouTube. Where are we? YouTube, Facebook, and are we on X or not on X tonight?
Not on X, just on Facebook and YouTube.
Facebook and YouTube. Still plenty easy to find. You can go to 1380 The Fan and find us on both places. All right, we'll take a break. You're listening to the Kester's post-game show powered by Pizza Hut on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
By Parkview Sports Medicine on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Live from the Hoopy Insurance Services Studios, WKJG Fort Wayne, The Fan.
At Pizza Hut. And always appreciate them as well. And what they do, Pizza Hut's perfect nightcap for a high school football Friday night. When you go out to the game, what you want to do when you're leaving the game, you might be a little bit hungry. Maybe you want to have a little pizza ready for you at lunch the next day. Well, what you do is you get it ordered on the app. Then as you're sitting in traffic, the time is ticking. So by the time you get to your closest Pizza Hut, you probably are just about there in time to pick it up. Perfect.
Perfect. And like you've said before, perfect way to, have a little Sunday lunch before your college football gets going or right as it gets going, and maybe even stretch it into Sunday.
Let's go ahead and get a final look at our H&K Chevrolet of New Haven high school football scoreboard.
Thanks, Brett. Starting off in the SAC, it was Northrop over Bishop Dwenger by a score of 21-18. Bishop Luers shut out Concordia 42-0. In our Midwest Box Breaks high school football game of the week, it was Homestead over Snyder 38-0. Carroll got the win over Southside 42-6, and it was Wayne falling to Northside. Northside gets the win over Wayne 51-7. Northeast State, it was Leo over Belmont 47-0. Columbia City defeated New Haven 42-13. DeKalb over Huntington North 42-28, and East Noble defeated Norwell 35-0. ACAC, it was Jay County over Woodland 21-7. Adams Central defeated South Adams 35-7. Bluffton over Southern Wells 47-14. Northeast Corner Conference, it was Angola over Fairfield 35-8. Lakeland over Central Noble 42-8. Eastside shuts out Prairie Heights 42-0. Churubusco over Fremont 36-14. West Noble over Garrett 17-6. And in independent action, it was Blackhawk falling to Toledo Christian out of Ohio. Toledo Christian gets the win over Blackhawk 27-0. Bonus score, Indiana Fever fall to the Las Vegas Aces, are now up 2-1, 84-72.
So the Fever will be facing elimination. That is a best-of-5 series, and the next game comes up on Sunday down at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The Fever will try to force a deciding Game 5 out in Las Vegas. All right, so tonight, Homestead dominates Snyder. Northrop gets the win over Dwenger, hands the Saints their first SAC loss. Now we've got a logjam, a lot of teams sitting, especially in the A division, with 3-1 conference records. We head to rivalry week coming up next week, where we will have the Homestead Spartans taking the road trip out to Carroll to take on the Carroll Chargers. That's going to be a fun game.
I mean, one of those teams is going to be sitting at the top of the SAC next week, maybe with another team, but not going to be too many ones left after next week.
It takes a very big reason for me to miss a high school Friday night. Next week, can't wait. My lone daughter is going to be getting married next weekend. So I will be gone. And, well, depending, could be very well be John Nolan.
Yeah, if the Fever play like they did tonight.
Let's put it this way. John Nolan's going to be doing a game next Friday. We just don't know if it's going to be the Las Vegas or the Indiana Fever, Indiana Fever, or if it's going to be our high school game. But I will be gone, but we've got coverage right here of the Homestead Spartans and the Carroll Chargers next Friday night. It all starts with our Parkview Sports Medicine pregame show, the tailgate pregame show, 6 o'clock. Plan on joining us next Friday night starting at 6. Big thanks to everybody that participates in our Friday night high school football coverage, our great pregame crew with Jim, Shannon, and Doot. Of course, Adam Lundy, who's a part-time technician, part-time scoreboard operator. Josh Williams jumping in on a Friday night. He's got some long bookend hours on this Friday, starting early, finishing late. Appreciate him jumping in. And of course, Macy Gray and Austin Fox that were working together back in the studio to keep everything smooth all the way up here until we join Bob Lovell, the coach, with Indiana Sports Talk, which does come up next. I am Brett Rum. Thanks again for listening to another edition of High School Football and the Kester's Postgame Show, powered by Pizza Hut on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.